love about these kind of conferences is that I get out of my silo and I find out what the rest of the world is doing.
I'm also hoping that we'll get some answers to some of the challenges facing healthcare today.
To take a few bite-sized things and see if we can't introduce it into our own practice.
The other conferences inch along in innovation, and I'm hoping that this conference is going to take big steps.
I'm incredibly psyched to be here.
This is a community of people who are thinking about healthcare. All of us are caught in a situation where the system doesn't work, and we want to get together and figure out if we can find enough common ground.
I wanted to call this series, You Don't Get What You Pay For, which I think we don't as a nation.
The way that we pay for healthcare, the way that we regulate healthcare, and the way that we set up insurance benefits does not do a very good job of helping people get that best health at the lowest possible cost.
Technology is a magical and wonderful thing, but if we don't transform ourselves, the roles and responsibilities that we play as patients and as caregivers and as clinicians, until we're ready to actually make those fundamental transformations, no technology in the world, no matter how wonderful, is going to solve these problems.
So how do we create an ecosystem where we can make healthcare premiums affordable to everyone, where healthcare premiums are not larger than most people's mortgages, and the single largest line item on their expenses is a household?
We are truly at a turning point, at a place where we cannot rely on exhausted ideas or outdated paradigms, at a time when we cannot accept falling behind on a biotech stage. That's our challenge. But I believe in my heart, having lived in this great state my entire life, that we can meet that challenge.
All of this comes down to how we can help people live better lives and make better decisions about their health.
The cultural fallacy is that health and healthcare are one and the same, and my mission here and with the book has been to try and disconnect these two things so that the next time the next great policy or strategy comes along, we've done the hard work at the cultural level so that those policies and strategies and ideas can really flourish.
It is hard to argue with the innovation that has occurred in health medicine over the last several decades. I wouldn't dispute that at all. The innovation I think that really needs to happen is in the business models of traditional companies.
One of the things that I believe is that information and information technology is going to start to become as important to healthcare and medicine as the discovery of drugs were to the treatment of disease or of safe surgical procedures.
So don't limit your thinking from a design standpoint to these old constructs. When you go into the forum today, try to think bigger, to challenge the words you're using because they're limiting our thinking.
I think when you look at the challenges we're facing across healthcare, forums like this are invaluable in establishing new relationships.
One of the great things we know about innovation and transformation, in fact, is that it's accelerated when you get people from different disciplines, different communities, different capabilities, looking at a similar problem but with different lenses.
The collaborative thought process, partnering with industry, with government, with other types of healthcare delivery organizations.
More spontaneous feedback in a more interactive way on how the group here wants to tackle some thorny problems.
Uber or Netflix or Amazon, their business model is predicated on technology. That is the way that they create their market and serve their customers. This is really our vision around the Internet of Everything. And the Internet of Everything can be very alive in healthcare.
We know now that where you live, what your zip code is, actually has a direct impact on health outcomes. In a very short distance, 3 miles, there can be a difference of 13 years in terms of life expectancy.
You want to create something amazing today?
figure out how to create it not just acting as your firm alone, but in close, orchestrated cooperation with others.
Bridges don't have anywhere to go. It's the people that cross them that do. And I think ultimately we spend a lot of time thinking about the bridge and not as much time thinking about the people that are crossing it into better health, potentially out of health, and wanting to come back.
As a newspaper reporter, all I can do is write stories, and those stories have to go out and influence the world. So by coming to places like Transform, I get to interact with people who can make a difference, who can take those words and put them into action.
While the technology will always be accelerating, it's how do we change the organizations, the workflows, the people, and have appropriate leadership to do all that. Those will continue to be, I think, the biggest challenges.
In order to really achieve whole-scale transformation, we have to work at this deeper cultural level, and we have to engage this idea that health and healthcare are synonymous, because the evidence tells us it's just not true.
We also need to raise daughters and sons who aspire to being healthy, who actually recognize that vitality is one of the most luminous currencies, and that you can spend that on hours of living well.
I'm so happy that there are these innovations starting right now for people like me when I was younger, or people like me right now.
And that is what I want to leave you with. The seemingly impossible is possible.